Hello and welcome back. This is episode 160 of NooBTooB, a weekly independent podcast where Yuzo and I are trying to figure out which games from Tokyo Game Show that we're going to talk about on the show today.
Yeah, and Tobin's been trying to get the Skullgirl Upskirt 4, the Ultra Zoom Edition, into the show notes, but I don't think that's appropriate.
Dude, I was just trying out the new Wii camera attachment mode thing. It wasn't creepy.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, but what about that game that you were playing where you traded girls cupcakes for their underwear?
Dude, I thought that was a Cake Mania sequel. Look, there was... No?
No.
Dude, what about that girl that totally slapped the shit out of you? Like, what the hell did you say to her?
Oh, yeah, that booth babe. So what happened is I think I need to practice my Japanese more. I went up and I was just like, hey, I want to try out that Pussycat game that you're demoing. And I think what she thought I said was, I want to play with your...
No, there are kids watching.
Oh.
I'm telling you, man. This is a family show. I'm using Watanabe.
And I'm Tobin Kozaire, and this week we're talking about Mario and Luigi Bowser Inside Story and a literal fuck ton of games that we played at Tokyo Game Show that'll be coming your way soon, and by soon I mean in the next 6 or 7 years.
Yes, metric fuck ton actually, since it is Japan.
And
also, you like Yakuza 4? That was nice.
You
right?
son of a bitch! Don't bring up Yakuza 4. Oh.
Well, at least it's called Ryu no Kogata something.
What's it called?
Where's it? I don't know.
Knows.
I can't speak Japanese. All right, so let's get started with Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
Absolutely.
Japan.
So we got our Japanese beer to
Sapporo.
celebrate our return from the land of the rising sun.
Yeah, I was trying to get some sake, but failed miserably.
Yeah, you really got to go to specialty places to get sake. You go in there and he's like, "Can I get sake?" And they're like,
Dude, seriously, I was talking to the guy, like, "Hey, sake," and he's like, he had this cloudy look on his face.
How about
and I'm like,
a bottle of whiskey?
Yeah, no.
How about this 40?
Thunderbird. Actually, they had still
Viper.
reserved for 220, so I was thinking
go.
that was,
but
not really Japanese.
I don't think we should ever drink 40s on the show. I think that would just end poorly
Can you
for
imagine
everyone.
a 40 Edward 40 hands while we're doing the show?
No.
We can't. Would be terrible.
Because you'd be dead.
That's true. I did Edward 40 hands with regular beer, not malt liquor. That was unfortunate.
I don't know if you guys have ever done Edward 40 hands. I don't know if we should tell kids about Edward 40 hands.
No.
But I'm gonna. So, basically what you do is...
duct tape, right?
You take two 40-ounce beers and you duct tape them to your hands and you can't take them off until they're empty.
And you have to take a leak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be drinking it. So you got to drink them pretty quick for the most part. Or you
good strategists would probably wear a kilt and then just piss out the bottom.
Or a bottle. They would tape a bottle
to their wang. That's actually a smart one. Yeah. But anyway, don't drink, kids.
Yes, don't do it. So Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story. It's been 2 weeks. We have not done anything but play video games while we're in Japan.
I know. We played games at TGS. We played games in the arcades. Yep. We actually, hopefully by the time you guys watch this, there's been one TGS episode that came out.
It's more of the Japan video. I'm not sure if the TGS one will be out by this point, but we'll get actually footage of most of the games that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got some good footage while we're over there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying those videos.
Yes. And so we have Mario and Luigi's Inside Story. It's a DS game, and it's pretty much the DS game that I played the entire trip.
Oh my god! It's so fun.
I was like, I remember you played the Partners in Time. The second time, you were like, dude, it's awesome. And I'm like, I don't got time to play this game.
Yeah.
I regret it.
Yeah.
Because you said this game is awesome. And I'm like, all right, try it. And I got fucking sucked in.
Yeah. Well, because if you try and describe the mechanics to people, it's really, really hard to get them excited about it. Because you're like,
let's try.
Okay. Because it's like, you're like, okay, the whole thing's an RPG, but you attack people with timing attacks. The whole thing. It's real time, kind of like timing attacks.
Kind of like a rhythm game, maybe.
Kind of rhythmy, yeah. But then it's Nintendo, so it starts off and you're like, oh, this is kind of fucking boring. Like people come at me and I jump to get away from them.
Yeah, you jump on their head to attack them, and when they come at you, you jump on their head in time. And you're like, okay, this is like child's play.
Yeah,
whatever.
And you're like, oh, this is getting kind of boring. Where are they going to go with this? Oh my god, where do they go with this?
Well, let's see. All of a sudden, the monster has fucking fire coming out of its head. What do? You can't stomp on them anymore. You can take damage.
Yep. So then you got to hit him with a hammer.
Exactly.
So they start giving you hammers. They start giving you special attacks.
Which are almost mini games.
Yes.
Right? Like they're very complicated mini attacks.
And every enemy has these very clever tells.
Yes.
So it's you and Luigi, and they're coming at you, and they blink their right eye, so he's going to go after Mario. So you're just like, oh shit, I'm going to jump with Mario, or whatever.
Yeah, or you see they'll throw up a little cloud which says red or green depending on which they're going to attack. There's all these different things where it's almost not necessarily the game of okay, I'm just going to level up shit. I'm going to actually need to remember, and there's a lot of monsters.
There's a
ton of monsters. I need to remember the thing. So and what I really liked about the pacing was that you would fight these monsters for a bit, and you would kind of figure their tells after about 8 or 9 battles. and then you go to another area which has totally different monsters. So you wouldn't get tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is perfect.
Like, it keeps it really fresh, and it keeps you interested, because a lot of times with RPGs what happens is if you get random battles, you get whatever, and you're like, all right, you know that if you fight some dinky shit monster, what you're going to do is you're going to be like, attack, 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 attack.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, your one eye is like on your laptop screen, or you're kind of, just like, all right, I'm going to get through this battle. I need to level up a little bit. But this one, you are right there, because you're like, what attack's he going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
who's
what am I going to
attack?
Yeah.
Sometimes I started to cheat. Like if I started getting annoyed with battles, I'd just do special attacks. But even those are pretty complicated too, right? And it kind of mixes it up. Like, oh, I'm going to use the shell attack. Oh, I'm going to use the fire this time. And each one is almost a different rhythm game, which is complicated and fun.
Yeah.
And the other thing I really liked about this game, the overworld where you're just going around, it's totally Metroidvania.
Yeah. That's true. It is definitely Metroid-y.
Metroid-y.
Because you'll see stuff. Like we always talk about this, is what we like in games is like you'll see stuff. For the first half of the game, for the first hours and hours of the game, you're walking around as Bowser, and there's all these places you can't get to, and there's like all these little things. There's buttons you can't push. There's like ledges you can't jump onto.
You can't jump at all.
Yeah,
like you can't do any of that stuff. And then you gradually get them as the story progresses. But the other cool aspect of it, they have these separated into two different worlds, where you're Bowser going around, getting all this cool stuff, and then you're Mario and Luigi inside of Bowser. So then whenever Bowser gets stuck, it's just like, oh crap, I need to lift this thing. You have to go to the arm muscle, and then go adventure in there, or block something out. It's just like the way they tied everything in, just like it's a pure Nintendo.
Oh, it's totally Nintendo. It's hyper tuned. Like it's tuned in the way that we absolutely love in these games. And I've heard nothing but good stuff from like all the NooBToobers we've been watching on Twitter and on the forums. I mean, like so far this is very universally liked.
It's on the list for like top games for DS. I mean, easily, right?
The Bowser stuff was really fun too, because normally in these games you just go around as Mario and Luigi. So I mean, what was really neat was the top two buttons are, X and Y, and then the bottom ones are A and B.
Yes.
So anytime, it's not like you have to follow the plot. Like, I mean, you kind of do, but I mean, basically what happens is anytime you press X or Y, you go up and you become Bowser.
Yeah.
You're playing as Bowser, you can hit A and B at any time and go back down, so you can control the action where you're hopping between Bowser and then inside of Bowser to Mario and Luigi.
And one thing I would have liked if they would have done just slightly, like if it's not really a complaint, but it's one thing I would really like them to do, is that they did make it kind of like the story, follow the story pretty closely.
Yeah.
Like you can't, like, okay, if you're walking around as Bowser, if you just switch to Mario and Luigi, there's not really many places you can go and do.
No, it's not an open world game. It's not a sandbox game.
No, but I mean, I'm not even talking about sandbox. I'm talking about, okay, maybe you could do something to get a few little more levels, or, do something like that. That would have been a little more interesting because I felt tied a little close to the story, and granted, the story was good.
It was.
So it made me follow it. Like, I finished this game, and you know how rarely I finish games, right?
Dude, you never finish games. And even when you finish games, you'll finish like an 8-hour game, right?
This is a 24-hour game, and I put the time in.
Yeah.
Every single train ride, I'd be like, "Yeah, honey, sorry."
Like, look out, Japan's beautiful. Well, take a picture.
Yeah.
Get a movie.
Yeah, if you're walking down the street.
See Mario and Luigi right here?
Yeah, it's like he's almost dying. I gotta, so doing that at home. I was playing all the way through it.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
And I was doing that the whole time we were in Japan too. It was like, I'd hop on the. Actually, we were doing that together. It was fucking hilarious.
I know. We had a long train ride.
Yeah, well, we kept going out to Tokyo Game Show, and it's an hour ride out there.
Chiba to Tokyo, at least an hour with 2 changes.
So you got to hop on the train and like try and get a seat. So you're like, motherfucker, get out the way. Just like go down. You're like, okay, sweet, I got a seat. Now I can play Mario and Luigi the whole way out to Chiba.
At some times, like, because it's really crowded, you couldn't get a thing, and I'd be like leaning against the wall.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta get my stylus. Oh, fuck. But what's awesome was like everybody on the train was really good at it. Mm-hmm. So you'd be people like on like this with one-handed playing fucking DS games. It was ridiculous.
Well, I would always get these embarrassing mini games. I'd be playing forever and it'd be fine. I'd get on a train, full of millions of people, and they're like, "Here's a mini game where you have to blow into the microphone." I'm like, God damn it! So there's all these people around me. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, they really need to have an alternative for that. For
like, hey, I'm not somewhere where I can blow on the microphone without looking like an asshole. Could I press a button instead, please?
Well, dude, I had the same problem in Zelda. Twilight Princess. There's one area where you have to scream into it to get a discount.
Really?
Right? And I was actually on a ferry in Vancouver, right? And I'm like surrounded by people, and I'm like, and it was fucking cold out. It was really cold outside, right? And I only had a t-shirt. I'm like, fuck. And I walked outside. I'm like, Sayo! Really loud.
Let me go back inside, you motherfucker!
People look at me funny on the railings, but I mean, seriously, that is it's painful. It's painful.
But it keeps you that. I mean, like when you're that into a game that you're going to go out in the cold for that shit. You know, that's pretty cool.
Did it feel a little bit like they copied the dragon, the dungeon, whatchamacallit, Rocket Slime stuff in some of the aspects?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
and also the battle
sequences.
music totally sounded like Final Fantasy.
I wonder if it was the same developer, because Nintendo didn't make the game, right? It was Nintendo published, and there was some other Q games, something like that. But yeah, dude, it's awesome.
I have no complaints. I mean, seriously, go get this game right now. If you have a DS, you need to get this game. It's the shit.
It is so up there with it's good RPG. It's very solid. Did you find the whatchamacallit, the experience curve to get a little kind of slow though, as far as when you were playing it?
I mean, I guess. I mean, like every RPG, like the experience curve starts to get.
But they didn't have a place where I had to whatchamacallit,
grind. I never grinded either.
Really,
that was really cool. Like you actually can just progress through the game without feeling like you're just basically running the numbers.
Yeah. It's a really great job.
Buy
game.
Buy it right now. So
awesome.
that is the only game we're talking about this week. We've got a couple games lined up for next week, and then the week after that is Rocktober.
Yes, that's going to be huge.
Brutal Legend, Uncharted.
But for next week, I know people are going to be asking. ODST will be on there. Dead Space Extraction, probably some other PSP games that we tried.
With,
maybe we fit.
Maybe that Badman game.
I kind of like it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next week.
All right, so we got some other games for next week, but this week we really want to focus on. We played a crap load of games at TGS,
a lot
of these are games that you guys have been asking us about for months. You're like, what do you think about this game? We're like, we're not going to tell you about games until we play them, because we're not the kind of people that like read forums or look at videos and then make up our opinion. Like we need the controller in our hands before we tell you what we think about it.
Pretty much every single game here, barring one,
we got to play.
Yeah, like hands on. So let's get started with Lost Planet 2.
Lost Planet 2.
So I was going to Lost Planet 2. I'm like, oh, here's a Capcom booth. There's like 3 lines. 2 are empty, or actually one was empty. The other one had like tons of people.
Yeah, they had shitloads of consoles. They had all sorts of consoles up there.
And they
were why are there 2 lines? That's weird.
And there were 2 lines, and 2 of the lines were like for co-op, which we had already done. It's the exact same demo. Everybody can play right now on Xbox Live Arcade. But the other
and they should, because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. But they had the other 2 lines were multiplayer battle.
Yeah.
Which we actually kind of like dug for the first one. It wasn't awesome, but it was like not bad.
But it's fun.
And we went in the empty line, and what the hell happened?
We're just like, all right, well, here's this line. You're like, well, I don't know why everybody's in this other line over here, and it turns out that the long line was for PS3.
Yes.
And the totally non-existent line was for Xbox 360 because no one in Japan gives a fuck about Xbox.
But you think about it, it's just like people want to just play the game. And the real difference is the controller, for the most part.
That's all that really matters is the controller. So the point is it actually worked out really well for us because whenever there's like lines for several consoles, we could just hop in the Xbox line because we don't give a shit. We have all the consoles.
Yeah.
And we could hop in the fast line because the Japanese people just don't care.
And it's so weird, which is really, really odd. But we got to play the multiplayer, which is different from what's available today.
Yeah.
And dude, it feels good.
It feels great.
Really good.
Really fun. So it's not all in the snow like the first one. So that we were in this really jungly level, and it was 4-on-4.
Yeah, 4-on-4, and they had those those things that the bases that you
you have to push the hammer the button to lift up,
get points. I just felt really good, really smooth.
The weapons were really strong. Like all the stuff with the radar was really well done. Like we were running around and we're having a really good time.
The mechs were awesome.
The mechs are great. I mean, like it's kind of fun because since as a human you can pick up mech-sized weapons, you're not invulnerable in a mech. Like you could be like stomping around, and some guy who's good at the game can just nail you with a mech rocket launcher just stand on the ground.
And they can actually like attach onto you. I think they can rip you out like the first one.
I didn't see that. Yeah, that's cool.
So it's just like the weapons are really good. I think the one thing I have to say is it'll take a while to kill people, and that's kind of one of my things. But overall, I think it's the aspect of being able to grapple on shit and swing.
That
is
just
nice. Like it did such a good job.
Yeah, it's what Bionic Commando should have felt more like.
You're right. You're absolutely
because they got the grapple great. It feels really, really good in this. I mean, basically now we've played the co-op stuff. We've played the multiplayer stuff. We have so far
buy
been
launch.
Yeah, buy at launch. I mean, like Lost Planet 2 so far is just rock solid.
It looks really good.
Oh, it looks crazy good. I mean, those of you that played the co-op demo, you've seen the monsters are just retarded.
But even then, that was still snowy, wasn't it? I think I remember it was mostly snow, but like
it was all water, like
like water. It wasn't that interesting, but you look at the jungle levels, like it seriously is really convincing as far as the thing.
So Lost Planet 2 looks awesome. So next up was Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, which I did not actually play.
Why not? Why didn't you go back?
Because I had other games to play.
Yeah, well, so I went there, and like one of the annoying thing was that
Is this PSP?
This is PSP.
Yeah, that's right.
So I went there. I saw a line that was pretty short. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'm going to go there. Maybe it's a 360 line. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
But no, I went there, and like they had this a couple of people giving this briefing.
Yeah.
You know, they were talking about how to play and all that, and then I went into this container, and they're saying like, oh, by the way, everybody break out your PSPs. We're going to download the demo to your thing for co-op.
Oh,
and I'm like, I didn't read that sign because I can't read Japanese. So that was annoying. But then I had to go back and wait in another line where they actually had, ones you could play.
Yeah.
And then you could wait about another half hour, which kind of sucks. So there was a lot of call for this, but
so what's the game like?
it's pretty much Metal Gear. I mean, they took kind of the Metal Gear Solid from Metal Gear Solid 4, right, and just kind of like took it where you're fighting against each other, except they made it more co-op.
Oh, okay.
So now you can go and play with 3 other people at the same time, and do that. But I only got to play the single player version, so I hear the co-op is really good.
Yeah.
There's all this thing where there's the love box. You see the love box? It's the cardboard box which says love packet or something like that.
No.
So there's two snakes can go underneath, right?
And do what?
Hide. In
the love box.
In the
love box.
Yeah. But they have this element where you can actually attach to another snake. And then when he moves, you move. Because the whole idea behind Metal Gear Solid is you need to be stealthy and have very exact control over doing that. So that's how you do that.
Okay.
And there's all these different things. So it sounds really interesting, but I played the single player. And by God, the single player fucking sucks.
What was bad about it?
The controls were terrible. I mean, you were playing around, and like I was moving around with the nub, and you use the camera for the the diamond triangle and all that.
Oh, that was like Resistance. The one the Resistance wasn't it Resistance that we played on the
Yes.
you can't do that. Like the using that for the buttons for the camera is terrible.
I understand fine. There's no dual analog nubs, but do something else. Don't
do that.
So
you're basically trying to shoot and stuff with the triggers while you're trying to like do the hand pretzels with the other buttons.
And not only that, you have all these like different menus to change weapon. I mean, it's a very complicated game with a very shitty control system. So I didn't like it at all. Maybe I'm hoping that the co-op will save it.
Okay.
So I will still rent it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a buy on launch for me for this.
Speaking of people bringing their PSPs, a shitload of people brought their DSs to TGS as well, and they were all playing Dragon Quest IX.
Dude, that game is crazy in Japan.
It's the biggest thing in the world. It's not out here yet, is it?
No.
Okay.
It's not going to be out here probably for a while.
Yeah, and the thing is even when it comes out here, it's not going to be as cool because there it's so cool because all these guys play through. They play through the game, but then the big trick is to meet with other people and then to get maps and monsters and dungeons and all this stuff through the wireless. Yeah. So everybody, you just go everywhere, and there's all these nerds clustering up with their DSs, and it looks so fun. Like it's like you're like, I want to do that. I want to hang out with a bunch of dudes and like change maps and stuff.
Well, we were not in Habra, and like there was the big camera, not the big Yodobashi Akiba, which is the huge, the biggest electronics store there. They have a special area on the sidewalk outside. Seriously, there were over like probably 100 people there with their DSs, and
just standing outside until like midnight, just playing.
After the thing is closed, is ridiculous. And like apparently, I heard that if you go to different Wi-Fi spots, you get different. That's why it's very location based. And you got to, and they also made a lot of quests where you have to do it with other people. So they almost force you to do that. So hopefully when it does, because it'll come out. Yeah. It's just I don't know.
Where are we gonna go play with other people? Like you can stand out in front of the fucking GameStop, like
we gotta work.
Yeah,
it's like hey, let's do a thing in between builds or something.
Did you hear why they all have to meet outside the Yodobashi camera?
Why?
They were all on the game floor. There was like 100 nerds, and they were just blocking the hallways. So the Yodobashi camera is like, okay, we'll build you a place outside to hang out if you will get the fuck out of our store since you're not buying anything.
Yeah.
So basically, like the store was just full of dudes playing Dragon Quest
I did not hear
all day
that.
long.
Wow. And the thing is, they had a spot at TGS for people to do that. So there's all these brand new games that people could be playing.
Yeah.
No.
And people showed up at TGS to stand there and play a game that they already owned.
Because it's that cool.
It's apparently that good. So, I mean, Dragon Quest IX, apparently it's the shit, and it won't be as good here because nobody plays with each other.
It'll be good if you're in elementary school or like junior high or whatever, but for like us,
if you have a lot of gaming friends, it'll be good.
So the next game is the only game that we did not play, and I'm pissed.
Yeah,
because they said it was going to be playable.
They lied to us. Modern Warfare 2, which is like your boner game of the year.
This game I'm going to be playing for hours and hours and hours. Like you talk about me not finishing games, like you will not put as many hours in a game as
No,
I will
you'll
put in
like
this game.
400 hours in Modern Warfare
it's
2.
going to be ridiculous. So this game, it's being published by Square Enix. So it is so weird to see I saw the box for Call of Duty 4. I took a picture of it.
Enix
It
on it?
Square Enix on it. I'm like, huh?
That's weird.
Yeah, so it's published by them. So they had this big booth, but all it was a video.
Yeah. It's like, I know that you guys brought like a fucking smoke machine, so you're like playing smoke while the video goes, but it's still not a playable game.
And a snowmobile that you couldn't sit on. There's a big sign that says, do not sit.
So basically, it was just a bunch of videos. We already know Modern Warfare 2 is going to be awesome, but we didn't get to play it. So
no, and I really wish. And what was really funny was I actually took some video. Hopefully, it'll make the thing. But you kind of look. It's like there's all these seats.
Yeah.
Nobody was sitting in them.
Yeah.
So I think first-person shooters still have not really gotten a good grasp on there yet. Unless there's a robot involved. Like seriously, I think it'll be very tough to do that.
So next up was Ghost Trick.
Yeah,
this was weird.
It's by Capcom.
Yeah, and I'd never heard of this before we got there.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is, it starts out, and you're a chick, and for some reason some dude shoots you. I think he wants like a boxer. The game was in Japanese, so we have to kind of like play it by ear.
We're making it all. There's a guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some dude shoots you with a gun and you die, and then all of a sudden the game goes into this mode where you're like able to control this ghostly dot of light to make things happen.
I think again, we don't know. I think the guy it's the ghost of the guy that died, and then he's trying to save the girl because there's all these elements where she's running away from the guy.
Oh, okay.
And the whole idea is, I guess you're dead, and then you're basically interacting with almost like kind of an Incredible Machine sort of aspect where Rube Goldberg, where okay, I need to go over here to drop the magnet to knock the gun out of the guy's hand so that she can escape. And
then you got to get behind the hot girl while she's doing the pottery and just
there
be
is
like,
that, yeah. And then Whoopi Goldberg comes in, which is like
nobody got that reference. It doesn't matter. So, but I mean, the gameplay is very strange because. From what I could tell, I couldn't read. I couldn't read what was happening, so I was just like fumbling through it.
There's a lot of story.
There's a lot of story.
Yeah,
but it seemed stupidly simple. There was like 2 or 3 places that the dot of light could go, and you just tried them and said go, and then the plot would happen.
It was the beginning of the game.
It was the very beginning of the
game.
Maybe,
I mean,
obviously, it'll probably get better than that. But I mean, it might be one of these like super story-driven games where the gameplay elements aren't all that good.
So I'm gonna scare you a little bit. You know who made this game?
Who?
Same guys that did Ace Attorney.
Oh.
So they are very hugely story. Some people dig it, like we didn't.
Tap to read,
and then use item on other item.
And then tap to read again for an hour.
Once I saw that, I'm going, okay, there's potential in this game, maybe, right? There's potential. Maybe the story is really cool. The art style was awesome. I really dug the art style.
Yeah.
It's kind of like cel shady, kind of cartoony, but really stylistic. But then I read that it's the Phoenix Wright guys that did it. It's just like. Not for us.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys are really big fans of Phoenix Wright, keep your eyes open for Ghost Trick. We'll review when it actually comes out.
Sometime next year.
I'm not super excited.
Yeah.
Red Steel 2.
Red Steel 2, playable.
Yep. So, Red Steel 1, I
thought thumbs upped it, dude.
I did. I thought it was fun, especially because it was like the first damn game I got on the Wii. I was all excited because I was like, I can swing the Wiimote and things happen.
That's pretty much, yeah.
I wouldn't go back and play it now, but Red Steel 2... Like, I don't know if it's going to be fun or not. Like, it seems okay.
I thought the sword mechanic. So the big thing is your sword and gun at the same time.
Yeah.
And the sword is using the Wii Motion Plus. It's better.
Yeah.
Than thing, but it's still not like to the level of where I want. Like to me, the Wii the Wii Sports Resort lightsaber game was better swordplay.
Oh, really?
To me, it felt like it, right? Because you were doing blocks and all that kind of stuff.
That's
this
true.
one I was flailing a lot.
But I bet once you learn the controls, there will be blocks. There will be, like
there were
if you
blocks,
go through the tutorial, you'll probably learn a little bit better.
True.
But what really blew me away with this, I mean, we'll review when it comes out. But what really blew me away with this is it looks better than a Wii game should possibly be able to look.
It
like,
looked really good.
I don't understand it. Like, I was looking at it, I'm like, this can't. They must be running this on prototype hardware. Like, this can't be running on a Wii.
It was a Wii, but it was cel shady, right? So they did go about, but like the style really lent itself very well.
It looked phenomenal.
It looked great.
Yeah.
And the. I mean, like it was a little more cinematic than I remember the first one being.
Yeah.
It was just like like all of a sudden you start out, you're on behind a motorcycle tied to a rope, and you're like going
dragged
all around.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but it's not going to be on my must-buy at launch list. It's going to be rent a week or two when it comes out.
I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, I did enjoy Red Steel 1. Like, I thought it was definitely a game that I'd never played before. Like, it was very unusual. And I'm hoping the second one kind of does some new stuff with it because they did have some innovative ideas. So, I'll try it when it comes out. So, PixelJunk Shooter.
Yeah.
This is coming out soon, isn't it? I think it's coming here.
Hopefully this year. I think it might be this year. It's from the same guys that did Eden, which we hated.
Yeah.
We really didn't like that.
Did not like that at all.
PixelJunk Monsters, which I loved. You didn't get a chance to play.
No, but it's actually like in my stack of games to play.
For the PSP, right?
Yeah, for the PSP.
So, and I'm looking at it. I think it's going to be really good choice for the PSP.
Yeah.
But it's like they've been doing really like stylistic games and kind of like interesting. They've been kind of like indie-ish. Right?
Yeah, they've been really experimenting with stuff, and this is totally experimental.
Yeah.
PixelJunk Shooter, you're a spaceship, and the really big fun in this comes with the co-op.
Yes.
Which hopefully it's got online co-op. I don't know if it's got online co-op or not.
Did we ask him? I thought we asked him. He said no.
Did he?
I could have sworn, but maybe not. So we'll confirm.
But either way, the point is the co-op is really going to bring this game alive. But the whole game revolves around the kind of this dichotomy of water and fire.
Yeah, and rescuing people.
I mean, you're supposed to rescue people, but the whole world is just full of water and fire, and you need to kind of balance them to get to where you're going. If there's a big fire, you got to dump water on it, and you can like fly with your spaceship and pick up a sponge and fill it with water and dump it on the fire. I mean, it's weird.
And it's really, I mean, it's all physics-based, right? So you're grabbing the sponge, you're swinging it, you're kind of shooting a wall that lets lava out, and then you're shooting something else to let water to go to make turn to rock so that you can go through.
Yeah.
So all this different stuff, and the physics are fantastic.
Oh, it looks awesome. It's just, it's really cool because the whole world is just rock, and then there's like a lot of fire that's red and a lot of water that's blue, and you just kind of...
That might be only one element. Who knows, right? We only saw one level.
That's true. They could have other stuff coming.
It feels really good. I think as a single-player game, it'll be share it with somebody for the most part. But if the moment they add online, did we play Eden together? I don't even know if we did that.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did either.
I mean, I would still play through the single player because I mean, like it was really really fun. But you and I playing together, where it's like I'm trying to fly under, and you're like, oh, get the sponge.
I'm like, dude, you put lava on me. What are you doing?
That happened more than once. I admit. He was like flying. I was like, oh, let me shoot the lava, and Yuza's like, oh God, no!
For some reason, I kept on killing guys.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, there's a monster! And he's like, dude, stop doing that.
Well, there's like one button to rescue people, and then there's one button to shoot, and you'd be flying up, you're like, oh, there's a dude, boom. It's like, you're gonna lose the game.
We lost like once.
Stop shooting the hostages.
Just like, are you guys good at video games? I mean,
Keanu Reeves says shoot the hostage.
He did.
He did say that. I mean, like, I know that you take most of your life lessons from Keanu Reeves.
Pretty
like,
much.
That you've actually modeled most
blue pill,
of your
red
life.
Pill, I mean, yeah.
Dude. So PixelJunk Shooter, fucking hell yeah.
Oh yeah,
I definitely want to buy that.
It's gonna be good, but online co-op, make it happen, PixelJunk.
It is 2009. Mother what?
It's a PS3. It's got
It's got 8 processors. Use one of them for the fucking network. Come on. God damn it. Final Fantasy 13.
So we've already played the demo that came on the Blu-ray.
Yep.
This is a different demo.
It is totally different. So. Yet again, it was all in Japanese.
Yes, so we kind of had a hard time. It was kind of funny. Like I saw the line, I was like waiting in line for it, and we had already gone. It's weird at TGS. You have to go get these tickets.
Yeah.
Say like 8:15. Go play Undead Knights on the PSP.
Yeah, it's like Disneyland. You get a ticket with a time on it,
which is ridiculous. And you had one for Jak and Daxter on the PSP.
Yeah, which I was excited about.
And I'm sitting online. I'm like, "Where's Tobin?" He had been playing some of the game, and I'm like, "Dude, like I'm next for the next 5 minutes. I'm next to play, and there's one extra spot.
Yeah.
And nobody's behind me." And I see Tobin. I'm like, "Dude, you got to get in here."
I come like running up. I was like, "Final Fantasy,
Jak and Daxter." Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. So we played. I think there were like 2 different scenarios, right? We both played the same one, which is unfortunate. But
yeah, that was too bad. There was one that was looked like this big open spacey area, and we kind of played a more stealthy one where you're kind of supposed to be sneaking through a junkyard or something, and you're trying to get away from some soldiers.
Yeah, and I think they did tweak the battle system a little bit, so it felt a little better to me for some reason, and I don't know why yet.
Well, I mean, if you remember way back when we did Final Fantasy 13, I kind of read up a little bit on the battle mechanics, so you were kind of annoyed that you had to queue up a bunch of attacks.
Yeah.
And it turns out you don't.
Right?
Yeah, you don't have to. Like you can actually do one attack and then say go. Yes. And I couldn't remember the right key combinations for it, but what I think is that when this game comes out for real in North America, we can read what's happening.
Much better.
The battle system, I think, is going to really feel nice because I think that it's a really nice way of lining up like a fire attack, an attack, this, that.
Do you remember if the AI were controlled in the demo or not? Or did we fought for them?
I don't remember.
Okay, because definitely in the place we played at TGS, they were all controlled for us. And one of the things I wanted to be able to do was to play as them.
It's a micromanaging Japanese game. You know, there's going to be a menu option where it's like, I want to control
or
everybody.
gambits, right? I want AI to be able to. And actually, I remember. I went to the option menu right before it ended, and I saw some AI type stuff. So,
but the thing is it's real time combat, so I don't think you could really control. I mean, maybe you could hop between the guys and have the AI control your main character.
I don't know. We'll see, but it looks awesome.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm obviously buying Final Fantasy 13 the second it comes out.
Yeah, I think the second it comes out is December 2010.
Probably.
It's okay. It's okay, because remember, all of the amazing games that are coming out beginning of the year, dude.
Okay.
Remember.
2010 is going to be full of good games, even if they aren't Final Fantasy 13.
Maybe even better, it'll come out in the summer.
Yes.
And we'll be like set.
Yeah, right. So next up, Jak and Daxter, which I did not get to play.
It was the last game of the evening.
I love the Jak and Daxter series. I liked Jak 1 and 2 a lot. I did not like Jak 3.
Jak 3.
These are all on PS2.
But you played the PSP Daxter, didn't you?
Yes.
Is that what you said you liked?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so I haven't played any of the Jak and Daxter games at all. None of them. So
crime.
it was, I'm like, you're a platformer guy. It's like, anyhow. But so I was playing this, and it feels really good.
Nice.
So it is a standard platformer. It's similar to Ratchet, but less weapon based. I would say it's a little more puzzly.
So it is 3D.
But it's it's 3D, but it's very combat based. But the controls were sweet, perfect.
Good.
And there was like some good puzzle elements where you had to you go see like a yellow thing, and you had to use a special thing when you hit the yellow to open up different doors and all that stuff. Combat was great. If you guys know Jak and Daxter, it's just like Ratchet. It's just like Banjo-Kazooie. It's your standard mascot plus guy,
right?
With mascot doing stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely like that. I mean, Daxter is actually notable for how annoying he can be. Like he's really
annoying.
kind of a shithead sometimes, but it's a fun series. It started off really good. Like I said, Jak 3, they tried to get super super dark and serious,
like emo-y.
Yeah, and it just didn't really work for me. But I'm excited to try this. I wish I'd gotten to try it at PAX, but or TGS, but I didn't. So. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Oh, this is the PSP one.
PSP Kingdom Hearts. There's Kingdom Hearts on the DS, which I think is
356 divided by 2.
Yeah. And then, who cares? That's ridiculous. And then the next up is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep,
yes,
which is the PSP one. And I don't know what the difference in terms of plot are for these.
Well, I think... shit. I remember there's like it seems to be character based. Like Sora isn't. I don't think Sora's in this one.
Oh.
But Sora's in the DS one.
Yeah. Okay.
So they kind of I think they made it like Kingdom Hearts kind of the adult version, Kingdom Hearts the kind of kiddie version.
Yeah. This
was
good. Like more adulty than.
Yeah, because the main character was like this older guy, and I didn't recognize him. Did you?
No, I didn't. I mean, I've seen him from the Kingdom Hearts thing before. He's kind of like the guy in the cape that was running around.
It's standard and anime style, but it's just like you were playing it around, and the combat was really good. I think it felt to me like there was a little too much combat, but I'm hoping they'll mix it up a little.
Yeah, I thought that way too. I mean,
demo.
I don't. They gave us a very short demo, and you're basically walking down a path, and you're trying to attack a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, there's no exploring.
No, there's nothing. So I know that Kingdom Hearts games aren't just solid combat. So we just got a taste of the combat, but it's very actiony, and there's there was a lot of things happening in terms of powering up special attacks.
Yeah, it's very intricate. Like I couldn't figure out all the idea because again it was all in Japanese. It was hard to figure out. But by trial and error, I was doing some crazy attacks. I was doing some very weak attacks, and there's all sorts of it's huge.
Yeah, there's up close melee attacks. There's attack over distance attacks, and there's super fuck you up in the air
as usual,
shoot you with a gun in the butthole attacks.
Get the key and then it's ridiculous. But yeah, no, it felt really good. And the big thing about this game to me is it's one of the best PSP games I've seen.
It looked great.
It's so good.
Yeah, it was just really, really polished, and the world seems like it's going to be pretty well fleshed out. Mm-hmm. I wish we'd gotten to see more, just other than a combat demo.
Or even some, frankly, I do like gameplay a lot, and I want to see a lot of that, but I would have liked to see a little bit of the interaction, some of the stuff, even if it probably would be in all Japanese. I would like to see some of it. But yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it looks really good. Next one.
We didn't get to play this one, actually.
I'm so mad about this. So I was walking down the thing, and all of a sudden there was something, and it was all kanji and Japanese characters, blah, 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 and a big 4. And I was like,
huh.
What's that? It's a big screen. They started playing the movie, and there's the fucking guy from Yakuza. I don't know what his name is. Probably Ryu something.
Sure.
And it looks so good. He's just he's having all these interactions with people, and he's walking down the street, and the streets, all the water's reflecting off the streets, and he's having these big gang fights, and he's meeting all these people, walking through graveyards, and
it's the fourth one.
It's the fourth one!
You didn't play the third one yet?
I didn't play the third one because it's not in English. So they're doing a Leighton. They're pulling a Leighton on us, where they're just Japan is just screaming ahead into Yakuza 4. We don't have Yakuza 3 yet, and I want it so bad.
You know the reasons though, right? Like I read a really good article.
The internationalization stuff?
Well, yeah, the internationalization basically, like, if you look at a lot of these big Japanese companies like Sega, like Square Enix, like Koei, all these big games, right? They make games that are really good that we want to play.
Yeah.
They make 80 to 95% of their money
in Japan.
So if you think about it, okay, I could spend X amount of, and localization ain't cheap, especially if you're doing voice localization.
That's true.
For 5%.
Right. Yeah.
What would you do? Right?
Yeah. At that point, it's just like I'm asking them to do me a favor. Like I know it's not going to make you that much money, but come on.
Can I pay you double the price of the game?
Yeah, exactly.
To
I'll give you
$100.
Just give me Yakuza 3. I'll suck your dick. You know, it's just like,
come on.
I'll do anything. I'll take you. Oh, God damn it.
But they did say, so there's been a lot of rumors. People have been calling in, saying like, hey, there's rumors. It's like, it's unfounded. There's no declaration.
Yeah.
But there's hope.
There's always hope. There's always hope. Yeah, we seriously had like 10 voicemails this week of people like, Yakuza 3 is definitely coming. I read on a forum
some
that
GameStop manager or something.
Boyfriend's managers, hairdressers said this. Is like, there's nothing for sure. And honestly, even at this point, like, even if they announced it, I'd be like, I believe that shit when it's in my hand. When I have the game in my hand, I'll believe it.
They'll announce it. It'll take 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate.
But anyway, Yakuza 4 looks awesome. It looks so good.
And what was the deal with the line? Because every single game has a line, and they're like Japanese are all about lining up.
Yeah.
Like Yakuza 4 had a line to sit on a throne.
Did you
see that?
I didn't see that.
Well, there was two
I saw the hot girls by the throne.
There's a throne, and was it just a picture of it? Because the line was fucking long.
But I didn't see anybody actually sitting on the throne. Like I just saw.
I know.
I don't know if they were like lining up to take pictures with the booth. I don't know. The whole thing with booth babes is very weird at TGS. Like. Yeah. It's very like there was a lot of dudes with walking around with $10,000 cameras. They would just like walk up to like, can I take a picture of you? And they're like, sure. And it's like,
dude, they were hot.
They were very hot. And
it's for some reason like at the end of TGS every day that we were there, like around 5 o'clock, they would actually get all of the booth babes per booth, line them up for a photo shoot.
Dude, I took video of it.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really hoping it shows up in our TGS footage. So hopefully you guys get to see this because it's fucking weird. It really is very strange. Like,
I was like starting to take it. I'm like, I feel kind of bad. I'm going to stop. But
I was filming the dudes. I was filming the dudes filming the girls because it just cracked me up. They're like, hey, girls, I know that you had a really great fun day today, like being lined up and ogled by men.
Yep.
Guess what? Now you all get to line up in like a bukkake shooting range.
Pretty much.
And it's just like, you might as well have a blindfold and have your arms tied behind your back.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't go there.
There's line up and there's like 1,000 dudes just taking pictures while you stand there.
And the other thing
is, they get paid well though. So.
They get paid well,
and,
and that's what they're kind of there for. But one thing I must say, which is different from any other game convention that I've ever been to, they are extra friendly.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, like, dude, I was playing the PSP and I was playing some stuff, and she was like, "Oh, you got the net," like basically like, "You just did a really good job," and I'm like, well, thank you. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, you're like, don't patronize me. Actually, that feels kind of good.
But I'm like, I kind of like this game. I was on Undead Knights, and I'm like, this game's not so bad.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna go on my podcast and say it's really good. I love you.
I mean, you get a drop-dead gorgeous woman, and like when you do something good, she's like, hee.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, I don't care who you are. It's just like.
Well, and it's especially interesting because in Japan, it's culturally, it's very culturally ingrained that if you're walking, there's like hot girls walking down the street. If you look at them, they will not look you in the eye. They'll look down at their cell phone. They'll look at the ground. Whatever. Like they're supposed to be demure.
It's very big. It's like kind of big city-ish. Like when you're a big city, it's a very similar thing. Yeah. But it's like all over Japan.
So for these girls to be like looking you dead in the eye and smiling, coming up and telling you you're awesome. I mean, like they very much hire these girls for a reason.
And that's the only time girls like.
the only time they ever talk to you. It's pretty funny. So Yakuza 4, hell yes. Well, someday.
I'd like to play Yakuza 3. I really would.
Yeah.
Actually. I saw some of the videos for that. Actually,
so would I.
Dude, I actually want to play the Yakuza that's set in the old time.
Do you?
And, yeah, it looked good. No?
It's
the exact same game, just
but I like
setting.
it because it's in modern Japan. That's the whole thing. That like I love
Not the
it.
story, because I mean the story looked really. I mean,
I would try it. I would definitely try it.
But they'll never do that one. I mean, if there's like flip flopping on Yakuza 3, they are not going to touch.
Yeah, talk about niche market. Like there's no fucking way they're bringing that out. So next one. This one surprised me. I actually hadn't heard that they were doing a full-fledged Final Fantasy on the Wii.
I had heard like rumors of a Crystal. It was Crystal Chronicles World where it's like Final Fantasy, but kiddie.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, whatever. It was like, it's a fun game, but it's not something to get super excited about.
Yeah, no, we didn't care about that on the DS.
No, I mean, it was okay. It was like the co-op was really cool, but whatever.
Yeah.
The Wii one looks interesting, dude.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Like it's really nice, and the world is enormous. Like if anything, I would say that this is almost like a Final Fantasy Zelda. Like the way that they built the world, like the like the new Zelda was like big open worldy, kind of running around.
I'd say it's less puzzly. It's a little more combat.
Yeah, that's
true. But overall, like, and they have the same sort of Final Fantasy epic story.
Yeah.
You're talking to people constantly.
Yeah. So the world is beautifully designed, and you're this guy with telekinesis.
Yes.
And you're basically... I'm hoping that all the combat isn't around this, because it was very cool, but I'm not sure if I wanted to play like 30 hours of a game where I'm like this all the time.
There was a lot of that, dude.
There was a lot of that. But it was actually very well done. Mm-hmm. So basically, they start you out in a tutorial where you're kind of running through this like Lara Croft-ish tomb area with the girl.
That's not the one I started.
That's right.
I was so pissed off.
You and I played totally different games. Like we were talking about afterwards. Like, did you see the thing with the wizard and the unicorn? You're like, no. So we played totally different demos.
Dude, I talked to the guy who's over here. He's just like, I'm like, do you speak English? I can speak a little bit Japanese. He's like, oh, a little bit. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, intro, would you like to play? And I'm like, no. Just start me with a game. And it's like,
should have been like EA.
I know. I said nah, probably like nah. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I start the game, and I'm 10, 15 minutes of fucking cutscenes.
Tutorial. Yeah.
Which you only get like 20, 25 minutes to play, and I was just like, so I didn't get to see half.
Well, see, the funny thing is, I did Gaijin Smash, right? Like the guy was like trying to lean over my shoulder and point at the thing. He's like blah blah blah, like trying to describe him, like yeah, start. He was just trying to. He was like yammering in my ear. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I won't play a fucking game. Like, I don't want to see cutscenes. I want to see tutorials. Like, just get me in the game. So I started out in this big ruin, and you're running through this girl, and you have to kind of do these things where it's like she's falling, and you catch her with your telekinesis, and then you're starting to fight monsters, and you're like picking up rocks off the ground and hucking it at the monsters.
Did you do the one where you're on the back of the wagon?
Did not do that.
Because like I went to a city, I did all this other stuff, then we're escaping from the city, I'm in a wagon, and you're actually going and knocking stuff into horse riders and stuff.
Oh, that's
so there's a lot
cool.
of different, I mean, it seems to me this was going to be one of the more varied elements.
Yeah.
The combat's not going to be go around, do something. You're going to be doing all sorts of different things, but the same telekinesis.
Yeah. I loved it. I was actually blown away. And the funny thing is like the mechanics, I was like, oh, it seems like it might be a lot of waggle, it might be a lot of whatever, but there's something about the world that I was like, I want to explore this. I really want to kind of get into this.
Yeah, like, I don't know what it is exactly. I think it's just the Final Fantasy-esque feel of it, right? It's just like they're going to be putting all sorts of dungeons there, cities, people to talk to. It's just like they really are really good at making them.
And it felt like alive and deep. Like you knew that there's going to be interesting things going on here. It's like as opposed to you play some of these games that are developed by big AAA developers, and it's really pretty, but it just feels like a ghost town. Like you're just kind of wandering a beautiful empty place.
And for the Wii, that's surprising.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Really surprising.
I have no fucking clue when this is coming out. Like I don't even know. It's probably going to be a while.
Next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, but keep your eye out for Final Fantasy Crystal Bearers. It looks really good.
The next game, I am so glad I actually got to try this game.
Assassin's Creed 2.
Assassin's Creed 2. The line was crazy long at the Ubisoft booth, but we snuck around to the Microsoft booth, and they also had it playable, and the line was like 20 minutes.
Much shorter. So we hopped on. We actually got to play about 20 minutes of Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, and what do you think?
I'm impressed.
I liked it.
I liked it.
I didn't think I would. I mean, there's one element. So they kept the whole element of like holding down X and walking around and doing all sorts of cool stuff.
Press X to do something cool. So it's just like you're running up a wall, and it's like you just hold X, and he's just like jumping and climbing and running and whatever.
They added a little bit because like you like go up and you stop, and you're like, well, why did he stop? And I'm like, oh, you got to climb to the edge. Oh, you got to hit another button. But dude, that's enough. That's like I'm going to give the team a little B+ for effort of trying to mix it up a little bit.
But the big thing was the variety of missions. Like
yes, tons.
I mean, it'll probably still be like the same a couple mechanics like it was in the first one, but the world feels so big, and it feels like you have so much freedom in doing what you're doing. Where like I was doing stuff where the guy had some English, and he was trying to tell me how to walk through this thing, and he would tell me stuff, and I couldn't figure out what he was saying. So he's just like, "Yeah, go and sneak over here and try and get past the guards." And the guards would see me. I'm like, fuck!" And I go through the menus and throw down a smoke bomb, and I would go like the wrong way. He's like, "Run up that staircase." I'm like, "I can't. There's dudes behind me." I run up the wall, and I still could beat the level. So I really felt like it was a world. It wasn't like a set mission path.
And I think they spent a lot, because I mean, from what I read, they have 450 people working on this game.
Fuck.
So the amount of like you're walking through, it feels like I am in old town. Like the number of people you talk, they're like talking talking about random stuff. You can go and hire goons for you, and they'll follow you around and like fucking kill people.
And actually act intelligently. It's not like these bullshit games where you get like goons and they'll kind of defend you, but if there's like a key target, they're like, oh, I'm shooting them, and they just don't seem to be dying. It's like these guys will fucking assassinate dudes for you. They will do your job
if you let them.
Yeah,
and all you gotta do is just toss money and do something. And like, there's a lot of close aspects. There's I think, what were there, like 4 mission types before? There's probably going to be more than that.
I'm sure there's going to be more than that.
Yeah, there's like 12, 15, who knows?
But I mean, I really like, we can't emphasize enough the feel of the world. Like I've been to Venice, and it's got that kind of just like you're in this kind of damp old, like kind of marble built city, and there's something about the way they did it with the lights reflecting off the water. You can just jump in the water, like you can
swim now.
You can
before
swim
it would
now.
kill you.
Yeah.
And like when I go into the other thing too is like when I was on the rooftops, it felt like I was on a different rooftop. Every single building.
Yes, yeah.
Right? It was very like before on the other Assassin's Creed, it'd be like, okay, I'm on another rooftop. Woo,
yeah, you just run. Yeah.
And like seriously, like you put 450 people on there, this city's gonna look good.
Yeah.
And I just hope the game.
I know. I was really happy to come away excited. So, so for once, we're excited about Assassin's Creed. Finally.
Well, no, dude, we were so excited about Assassin's Creed before it came out.
Yes. So don't shit on our dreams,
please.
We wanted the first one to be cool, and it totally wasn't.
Yeah. The next one I don't want to talk too much about, but it's a Front Mission Evolved. And I was looking around. I'm like, oh, cool! Look, a robot game.
Yeah.
Third person.
Yeah.
Flying around. Ass. Like seriously, it was terrible. It was like the worst robot game I've ever played.
That's like the full review. Yeah. It's like Yuzo Watanabe says, ass. Next game.
Actually, that's good. Let's leave it at that.
Fuck you, Front Mission Evolved. So next up, Zero Day Attack on Earth. So this game is coming out on Xbox Live Arcade. I just really liked it because it's basically this twin stick shooter where you're moving with one stick and shooting with the other.
Enix?
I don't know who it's by. Everything's by Square Enix.
I think it was,
yes, sure it is. Everything
published
is.
by at least. Yeah.
So basically, all these aliens are attacking the city, and you're over this enormous town, and you've got radar and stuff. So you're basically it's kind of like an open world Geometry Wars, like it's just
with bosses and random monsters and stuff. Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of like a combination between a Geometry Wars and like one of those old like 1942 shmuppy kind of things like that. So it looks really good.
Yeah, 1942 is not 1942. Time Pilot.
Okay,
It has a very reminiscent feel of Time Pilot.
But it was fun. It'll probably be $10 maybe. So
yeah, and I hope that it doesn't seem like it'll be that much localization needed. So hopefully we'll see it this year.
Hope so. Hope so. So I really like the demo for that.
Oh, did you get to play this next one?
I don't think so.
So it's Resident Evil: The Darkside Chronicles.
I don't think I played it.
So this was again a Capcom booth. It's Resident Evil. So it's very similar to Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles.
Okay.
So it's the blank Chronicles series of Resident Evil. So it's basically on the Wii and it's a shooter. So like on shooter style game.
Like Rails?
This one, like on Rails, yeah. And this one felt good. It felt a lot better than Umbrella Chronicles. Almost as good as Dead Space Extraction. We'll talk about that next week. But yeah, I mean, like seriously, it is a really well done light shooter game. And
because I seriously got sick of Umbrella Chronicles after like an hour. Yeah, But
I thought we gave it a thumbs up. I have to remember because I actually played it for I played it way through, like halfway through at least.
Okay, so you played it more than I did. You definitely played it more than I did. So I mean, So
did you like Ghost Squad though? You like some of those light shooting games.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah. So, it's going to be good. It felt to me like the boss battles were a little better in this one than in Umbrella Chronicles.
Okay, that's good because the boss battles were annoying before. It's like kept swooping behind buildings and. So
this one, it's a little more staged. There's a lot of difference. It's your standard Resident Evil, but I think it's going to be a good rental. Probably not by launch.
Okay. So Resonance of Fate. So Resonance of Fate is one of these games where it's very difficult for us to review it because it will not be good until we can read what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
It's not called Resonance of Fate there. It's called something else in Japan.
End of Eternity.
End of Eternity, that's right.
By Square Enix as well.
And it's a very bizarre turn-based... So you basically... it's a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
But what happens is each turn you line up which direction you're going to run, and then while you're running, it's charging up attacks, and you basically say, like, okay, at this point, now I'm going to attack, and you're like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Like, you try and, like, line up your attacks. It's a weird queuing system. Like, I'm going to go from point A to point B, and then, like, use up a certain amount of attack energy between those 2 points.
Yeah, you're kind of, like, basically drawing lines on the battlefield, right? And you do that, and there's a little cool element where you have 3 or 4 people on your team.
Yeah.
If they intersect... that's where you can do this extra combo.
You can do combo attacks.
And again, all we're talking about really is the gameplay because like I have no idea what the story's about. It seems a little more modern. It's not your fantasy RPG. It's a little more modern sci-fi a little bit, but it looks really good and the battle system is intriguing.
It's intriguing. I'm not going to say it's good because I can see it really being shitty.
Yeah.
Like when I played, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I seem to be dying a lot because I can't quite figure out exactly how I'm supposed to be doing this because the instructions are in Japanese, but it's intriguing, so keep your eyes open for Resonance of Fate.
I would have been, basically, we were playing it, I would have said it was shitty until the guy who spoke perfect English, in a British accent, came by and explained what was happening. Yeah. Once he explained, he's like, oh, by the way, you can do this, you can do this. I'm like,
then it gets more interesting.
This is very, very neat. So
exactly. So I mean, it's one of these things where it's like we really can't judge it until we get a full-fledged tutorial.
Yeah. Samurai Spirits Sen.
I didn't see this one.
Samurai Spirits is very Samurai Showdown. So I'm sure this is one of my favorite fighting games of a series of all time. Yeah. I really enjoy it. They put it on the 360, and I don't know if it's on PS3 or not. 3D.
Oh.
So it's traditionally a 2D fighting game.
So now you're rotating around people.
Yeah. Really sucks.
Oh,
I wanted to like it so bad, and I was there, and I was playing, and some guy sitting next to me like, huh? Yeah.
Aren't you excited?
Are you excited? I'd be like, you want to play?
Yeah.
It's just like, and it just felt like you remember, what was that Castlevania Judgment one?
Oh,
all the fighting games where they just try, but they don't really nail it.
Yeah.
Like Tekken nails it,
Sure.
Virtua Fighter nails it, what's the sword
Soul
one?
Calibur?
Soul Calibur nails it.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive. All these games nail it. This one felt very cheap. So it's just like, it's unfortunate. So don't keep an eye out for that.
Hey, are we going to review 99 Nights 2?
You want to put on this list? You played it, or did you?
I got like 4 seconds of video of me like recording it. I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'm not playing that bullshit.
Maybe
Fuck 99 Nights.
Maybe they added fun.
No! All it is a button hammering, kill 1,000 stupid goddamn enemies. Fuck that game.
Press X lots. That's what that game should be. 99 Nights, press X a lot of times.
Press X a lot, yes. And then last one up is Undead Knights.
Which actually came out this week.
Yeah, that's
already.
right. So it's actually out now. We haven't given it a full review because we haven't fully played through it.
I don't know if I'll get it because I played the demo and it's kind of funny.
It's
humorous.
It is humorous,
unintentionally.
And it's not. It doesn't seem like one of those things where the gameplay would keep you interested for more than about an hour.
No, but for 15 minutes, it's just really.
It's funny at first. Yeah, so what's it like?
So you're going around and you're basically a guy that was dead, and some guy comes and brings you back to life, and you have powers to make zombies.
Yep.
So you go around, you're killing all these guards that are coming to kill you because obviously you're a bad dude.
Yeah.
And then when you get the guards down low enough, you hit another button and you turn them into zombies.
Yeah.
And you basically have this army,
you have a whole
army
horde
of zombies, and use them in very interesting ways.
Yeah. So which is really funny. I mean, like at first you just kind of direct them, and they go and attack people. Like, oh, that's pretty funny. But then when big bosses show up, you can pick up zombies.
Like
and then throw them onto the big boss. So there's like this big boss, and there's 7 zombies like on him, like
health like, going down a little bit.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's funny. Like just even in the demo I was playing, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, it's a 3D action adventure with a twist.
Yeah,
and whether the twist will extend, who knows? I might, if I'm bored, but I mean, we're talking about Brutal Legend coming out on Uncharted 2. I don't think I'll get to this game anytime soon. So
yeah,
we'll see.
So that is it for the Tokyo Game Show, and stay tuned next week for a bunch of new games that we've been playing since we got back.
Yeah, don't comment where's ODST because it's coming next week.
Yeah, we've actually both played some single player, but we're really trying to set aside time to give ODST a shot at multiplayer. Before
I really want to try Fireteam. So that's before we give a full review because
we're going to grab some NooBToobers this week, and we're going to try and get some people to do some multiplayer firefight stuff.
Okay, so each week we'd like to feature a NooBTooB army on the show. Please call in if you have an interesting question, funny story, or whatever.
Yep, and you can contact us toll-free at 888-233-8480. Say your name clearly, motherfucker. And send your files to feedback@NooBTooB.com. Also be sure to post them as video responses on YouTube. We love that.
Yes, and also keep all video responses under a minute if you want to be featured on the show.
And don't forget we love that shit.
Yeah.
So first one up is Bashment Girl with a question about a convention she's been to.
Hey YouTube, this is Bashment Girl from the forums. I just got back from Exotica, New York, which if you don't know is a big sex convention that they have here, and they had this thing called the Real Touch, which is the virtual woman's part. And do you ever think that something like this could be applicable for games? I mean, you plug it in, and if your character is hurt, you'll be hurt. If something's wet, you'll get wet. What do you think? Yow.
Tell me more about things getting wet.
Woman parts would be more interesting to hear about.
It is one of those things where I've always figured that this industry would be first driven by porn.
And it is. I mean, you already have Tell Till Dawn Next. We talked about it previously, where people are working things totally over the internet, and it's working, on the other side.
Things on other people.
People, yeah. So I think, the only example I can think of right now is that trance vibrator thing.
Oh, right.
On the PS2, I think it was. So it's a PS2, it's this little vibrating thing you're supposed to put on your back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But essentially, it beats to while you play. So obviously,
it's a way to keep your girlfriend entertained while you're playing video games.
Basically. But that's the only thing I can think of that actually has made to that level.
Yeah.
That doesn't get into X-rated territory.
I mean, for me, it's the dream. Like I not the sex part.
Okay, I'm just
saying that this is kind of growing up reading Neuromancer and Snow Crash and these other novels.
You want the plug-in.
I've always wanted the plug-in where it's one thing to encase your body in something that's like slapping you around or whatever, but I mean to actually get in and kind of hack your brain and make you see things and make you feel things, make you smell things, make you do whatever. But I mean, like, we are so far from that, it's ridiculous.
I mean, we're getting there, right? I mean, you think about it. Okay, we got the Rumble.
Sure.
It's getting there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got that sort of element. Obviously, you're not going to get any sort of thing that's going to do that, like get you wet or anything like that. But they have seats now which will rumble, so it gives you a full body experience. You have wheels that have full force feedback. Right. I mean, we're getting
props. We're getting decent enough props, and things like the Wii and things like Natal are nice because it lets you be immersed in the experience, but it's not giving you feedback so much. Like.
Yeah, I mean, so we're talking about is like full body, where visually we're already pretty much taken care of, and it's just getting better. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, it hit that in kind of uncanny valley where almost it's like, let's actually go back to like artistic versions because it's kind of
which
getting
people
a
are
scary,
doing. I mean, a lot of people are kind of stepping back to cell shaded stuff because it looks better than when they try and make it look realistic, and you get crap like Polar Express, right?
Yeah, you definitely don't want that. But when we're talking about other like big things, I mean, like the closest I can think of is the Rock Band strobe lights and the smoke machine. That's kind of getting there.
Yeah,
and cool. Did you see that PC thing that they were trying to sell a while back? That a startup, which was like Smell-O-Vision, basically.
No.
So like, it was
how many
really
smells could they make?
Apparently, quite a few. So it's like an array of 8 or 9. So the different combinations of things it would smell. And they had this stupid business model where you go to a website which would be coded with this smell, and you'd go to it, and all of a sudden, psh.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, so people have no fucking clue how to sell this yet, but I have a feeling that coming down the line, you're going to get Sony and Microsoft and some of these other guys like trying to play more with peripherals that give you feedback.
Yeah. I wonder what...
I mean, the thing is like people always talk about doing things like wearing a suit that'll give you pressure, but I mean, the thing is...
It's so much of a pain in the ass.
It is a pain. Like, you don't want to put on this whole goddamn suit just to play a game, and the games are going to be lame anyway, because it's going to be like, you're playing an RPG, and it's like, you feel like a little twinkle in your arm, and it's like, oh, my arm is damaged. It's like, who cares? You
don't really need it. I mean, you look at like games like Dead Space, where I had no sort of elements or any of that stuff, and I was scared shitless. Right? So I mean, games in and of themselves can put you into element. If anything, I think the visuals, what we're going to see in the near future is 3D. Yeah. I think in the next 3 to 5 years. By 5 years, we'll probably have mostly 3D.
And it's going to have to be real 3D. It's going to have to be the 3D where the camera's tied into the console and it's doing the stereoscopic vision as opposed to these bullshit red, green, the red, blue glasses, like whatever. But So okay, so let's do the Eat Lead stuff. So what we've got here is Dante Lama with a comment about Eat Lead. I bet he thinks it's awesome.
No, I think he's going to think it sucks.
Hey guys, this is Dante Rommel from the forums. Well, for the whole discussion between Yuzo and Tobin about Eat Lead, I purchased Eat Lead. I will agree with Yuzo. The gameplay isn't exactly the greatest thing, and it's not the shiniest, but the writing is hilarious. So I'm going to give a vote to both of you. All right? Yow.
Wait, what?
It's a tie? How can the game be good and bad?
That's impossible. It is bad. It is not worth it.
It is awesome, and it's the best game ever made.
All right, fine. Let's declare it a tie. We will announce that this Matt Hazard game is a tie, and leave it at that, because I think people are getting tired of it. But when the next Matt Hazard game...
The next Matt Hazard game?
What?
Why would they make another Matt Hazard game? Hold on a second.
Hey guys, this is Reckless Mafioso from the forums. Just letting you guys know, I read a couple days ago that a follow-up to Eat Lead is being made by the same creators for the Xbox Arcade and PSN. There was a screenshot in the announcement I saw on Kotaku, and it was a side-scroller shooter and kind of looked like Shadow Complex, but the environment looked exactly like something from Mirror's Edge. Apparently the story is that Matt Hazard has to go back in time through games to save his 8-bit self, and yeah, just thought you guys would like to know. Tobin probably will appreciate this more than Yuzo, but... Oh, and I never played the original Eat Lead, but I'm probably going to jump on that pretty soon. Looks kind of cool. So I'll catch you guys later. Yow!
Eat Lead 2, motherfucker!
Dude, if it's like Shadow Complex and it's still as funny,
exactly.
I'll totally play it.
If they got better developers and they've got the same caliber of writing, then it'll actually be a genuinely good game.
You heard it, right? They did not get better developers. The same developers are doing it.
Well, okay, sorry. So if the same developers learned
Magically
something,
got better.
Well, I mean, they've had a full game worth of practice now, right? So
I
mean, you know, like maybe they decided that 3D wasn't their bag, and they've removed one dimension, which makes it 1/3 easier.
One data point I will give you. Undertow, Shadow Complex.
Exactly.
It happened.
Exactly.
It happened.
One game worth of practice. All they needed is one game worth of practice, and suddenly it was awesome. So
I have hope.
I am excited for the Eat Lead sequel. That's awesome.
All right, I think that is our show for the week. Please check out our website at NooBTooB.com and check out our forums by clicking on the community tab at the top of the page.
That's right. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, there's a subscription button over there somewhere.
Maybe down.
And also rate this video with 5 stars by clicking on my stuff over here. That's all for this episode. I'm Tobin Kozaire.
And I'm Yuzo Watanabe.
And
we'll see you next week. Oh no, actually, audio engineering is done by Wow, I totally forgot. It's been 2 weeks. Audio engineering is by Range Sake. Trust. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
We're out.
Ja.
Sitting here trying to figure out what games from Tokyo Game Show that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, you know, Tobin's spending a lot of time trying to get Schoolgirl Upskirt.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Schoolgirl Upskirt 4 Alters Illusion. Right. I'll get it right.
All right.